All right, moving on. Let's go to Texas because this Republican abortion ban representative has been accused of funding abortions. All right, I'm going to share this from Rolling Stone. In 2021, Republican Texas State Representative Giovanni Capriglione introduced the Human Life Protection Act, a trigger ban that turned Texas into one of the strictest anti-abortion states in the nation after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade the following summer. The legislation almost totally stripped women in Texas of their reproductive autonomy. We covered that. Q and I covered that. Maternal mortality has since spiked, and routine pregnancy complications have become more dangerous. But while Capriglione led the charge to redistrict the rights of his constituents, in his political career, in his personal life, he allegedly paid for multiple abortions, according to Alex Grace, a former exotic dancer who says she had a long relationship with Capriglione. In a lengthy interview published on Friday by Texas-based independent outlet Current Revolt, Grace alleged that she and Capriglione, a married father of three who was elected to the state legislature in 2012, had been romantically involved for almost 2 decades. She said the two met in 2004 when she was 18 years old and working as a dancer. Grace said they would meet at a variety of locations, including his home and office, describing the representative's behavior as paranoid to the point of absurdity. I want to make sure that we note that she was 18 years old when they first started this out. Just keep that number in your head. All right. Grace described one incident where, in order to avoid being seen together, Capriglione told her to go to, this quote, go to the back of a Chuck E. Cheese, and next to the dumpster there would be a rubber mat. Look under it, and under this rubber mat was an envelope with money, unquote. She added in the interview that Capriglione would use burner phones and emails to communicate with her, and often flaked on plans to meet for fear of being caught. Grace alleged that Capriglione, quote, funded several abortions for his own personal gain, unquote, and that she felt his support for anti-abortion legislation ran contrary to his own personal beliefs and values. Quote, if you are using abortions for your personal gain, if you are using women for your personal gain, why announce to the world that this isn't who you are, unquote, she said. She goes on to say, you're just going to have to go with my word, unquote. Grace, this is what Grace told the Current Revolt when pressed for additional details. The next paragraph here, and again, it's in Rolling Stone if you want to check it out, but we left it out because there's some pretty graphic and disgusting details that she shares about this man and him wanting to do, we'll say, exceptionally vile acts that affect children. That's why that 18 age matters here. Now, we're not going to read that on the show. Q and I made the decision, but it's there for you if you want to know the rest of it. It's just not for us to share. All right, I'll continue. Capriglione announced last week, days before news of his affair broke, that he would not be seeking another term. He had announced barely a month earlier that he would be seeking re-election, touting the endorsement of President Donald Trump and Texas Governor Greg Abbott, as well as how he authored the most consequential pro-life bill in state history. And just so you know, this article is a little older too. The representative's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Rolling Stone, but in a statement to the Texas Tribune, admitted to having had an affair and claimed the allegations against him were part of a targeted smear campaign. Okay, so that's his side of the story, if you will. To be fair, we know some details about the story that, again, we didn't want to share on the show, but suffice it to say that this sort of hypocrisy is disgusting in and of itself. This particular incident is like, it's kind of haunting. I'm the last person that would say that hypocrisy is only found in Republican circles. I could never say that. In Democratic circles, there's hypocrisy there as well. But the scale and the frequency of stories like this that we have to cover, they just blow my mind, and they're so frustrating because these people completely lack the capacity to see that other people are humans too and deserve access to all the things that they have access to. This reminds me of when the COVID, all the Republicans were saying that student loans should not be forgiven because if you take out a loan, you should pay it back. And then the White House, at the time it was Joe Biden's White House, the White House social media account found all of these Republicans' COVID loans, and that they were all forgiven. All of them. It was tons of these people. And they were saying it loud. So it was like, yeah, these are the rules for y'all, not for me. And that's something that I've been doing this for years, and I see it constantly on that side of the aisle. I don't want to talk up too much. Q, let's get your thoughts too.
No, you hit the nail on the head. It's the do as I say, not as I do party.
That's it, man.
Hypocrisy is the brand. Like, it's all people have in them the capacity to be hypocritical, to say something about themselves or their family and not apply that same thing to someone else or their circumstances. I think all of us have made that mistake before. Mm-hmm. Spank that kid, but don't spank mine kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But the Republican Party seems to be full hypocrisy all the time, while pushing that COVID was a hoax and that the vaccine was dangerous. They were being vaccinated. Mm-hmm. Telling you and your family not to do it as they rushed to make sure that their families were the first in line. So this is not like you and I scour the internet to find one example that we could highlight and amplify. This is every other show. Yeah. If we wanted to create a hypocrisy segment, we'd have one.
We'd always have content.
Yeah. So, it's so much the norm on that side that I'm going to author a bill that denies everyone access to this form of healthcare that I've used multiple times and will continue to, because accountability is not a thing for us either. Mm-hmm. Qualified immunity for law enforcement. The police are on the scene to investigate or arrest people in response to someone being killed. They show up and kill someone and go on about their day. It's just we can pick stories from every corner of the internet with regard to every topic and every piece of legislation, and you will find Republicans talking out of both sides of their mouth.
You just said in the previous segment how this is a Republican administration, how they are going after immigrants with brown skin specifically. And there's tons of people
with brown skin exclusively.
There you go. You just said that. So, I think you're not more right than but you're right. And I appreciate you adding all of those stories. But
all the way at the top, Ramses, getting rid of naturalization and denying anchor babies and no to immigrants by a child of immigrants who's married to an immigrant who has anchor babies and has family members, his wife included, that have been naturalized citizens that were not born Americans. He wants to deny everyone everything that he has.
Boom.
And that is their brand across the board.
It's like I said, it's so frustrating because there's no other conclusion to reach outside of they don't see our humanity. That like, if it happens once, okay, that person is corrupt, or that person made a mistake, or that person, whatever, but when it happens and it's widespread, like nationwide, and like you said, it's a part of the brand. And then we talked about police rechronicling the narrative, and we already know the police tend to be very pro whatever this guy is, MAGA, just because MAGA, they protect MAGA folks. It's just such a frustrating reality to live in, where you're starting to question your own value as a human being in this land of everyone else.